Breaking right now at noon on CBS News Philadelphia, a judge has just dismissed all charges against former Philadelphia police officer Mark Dial in the shooting death of Eddie Irizarry. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Donovan. The judge ruled that prosecutors had not presented enough evidence to show the shooting of Eddie Irizarry was a crime. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Dan Snyder is live in Center City where the hearing just wrapped up. And Dan, I think it's safe to say this was quite an unexpected turn of events in the courtroom.
Yeah, Jim, I think fair to say a very stunning outcome today here at the Criminal Justice Center. As you said, just within the last hour, a judge dismissing all charges against former Philadelphia police officer Mark Dial in the deadly shooting of Eddie Irizarry. I was in the courtroom. She cited a, quote, lack of evidence presented by the prosecution. Now, today's preliminary hearing was that real test of the prosecution's strength of its case. Remember, they had charged Dial with first-degree murder, third-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, and a slew of other charges. They also called, for the first time, we heard from Dial's partner on that day. Officer Michael Morris testified in this preliminary hearing. At first, when the prosecution asked, he was adamant that he vocalized that Eddie Irizarry had a knife and was raising that knife while he was in the car as officers approached. But later on cross-examination with the defense, Morris seemed to waver as to whether he may have said gun and then knife. So there was some disparities there. The defense had argued for a while that this knife had the appearance of a gun from the vantage point of Officer Dial, and they argued heavily that he was retreating as he was shooting, showing that this, they say that this was not a premeditated shooting and that the prosecution could not prove malice, throwing out that first and third degree murder at the end of it. They also presented evidence that the officer involved shooting investigations unit had presented a warrant for Officer Dial. They were seeking charges of voluntary manslaughter, so the defense also threw that out. And at the end of the day, the judge said she agreed with the defense's argument, dismissed all charges. This was obviously a very emotional day for the family. We had spoken with them right after this court appearance. Very emotional, heightened emotions from the family. Prosecutors say they are not finished. They fully plan to appeal this judge's ruling. And as for the defense team, they say their next step is getting former Philadelphia police officer Mark Dial out of jail. Again, we have a lot to get through here. We're going to have a lot coming up for you later today. For now, live downtown, Dan Snyder, CBS Philadelphia. Jim, let's get back to you.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. Appreciate it. And of course, stay with CBS News Philadelphia for continuing coverage on this breaking development surrounding the Mark Dial case. We'll be revisiting the neighborhood where the shooting happened, getting with legal experts and both sides of this story.